Hey guys, welcome back to Springwood. In today's episode, I'm going to be working on the downtown area. Last week I deleted so much of the city, so it's been really great actually working on the downtown and the skyline and all the bits and pieces I've been wanting to do for a long time. So that's coming up in the time-lapse very shortly. But before we get into the build today, I do want to show off something, the newest addition to Springwood Streets. And if you're not familiar with Springwood, it's set in the 80s, so I can't have vanilla cars driving around, just making life a little bit harder for myself. But luckily I've got really great asset creators out there who are creating really awesome customized cars that are, pre-1990s. One of them in particular is Archie Cunningham. He's basically made 90% of the cars driving around my city. And he's now very kindly made Springwood its very own custom police unit. So this is them driving around here. I asked Archie if it could be blue and gold, and I just said, look, go for it. I want you to put as much of your creative thought into it. He's come back with this. It's got 220 written on the top. On the side, it got Springwood Police and even the $2.20 logo. So stuff like this, it's just really cool because it just makes Springwood just that little bit more unique. So yeah, much appreciated, Archie. I think it looks awesome. And just a message to any other asset creators, if there's any watching this channel, please get in touch if you've got some ideas, if you've got an idea for a billboard or a building to add to the skyline or some houses, or even just if you've got your own creative thought and you want to add to the city, please get in touch. I would really love some more custom stuff floating around Springwood. In terms of today's build, I'm going to be focusing on developing the downtown. Now I'm referencing the Los Angeles downtown area here. I'm going to be going for this sort of a look. So I want there to be mostly plazas below the big skyscrapers, but I will be having some lower commercial buildings. I'll also be putting in some government buildings like town hall and courtroom and just general government offices. Buildings that have been there for a long time. So I want that to look like there is a bit of history to Springwood, but I would mostly like the downtown area to be pretty modern. Also, towards the end of the episode, I will be working on an opera house that will be pretty much front and center of the downtown. It's pretty much going to be the first thing you see when you cross the Springwood Bridge. So I do want it to be quite detailed and interesting. So I'm going to be working on that at the end of the time lapse. But in terms of achieving the look of the low commercial area of the downtown, I'm going to be using Find It to basically search through every asset that I have. I'm looking at mostly growables, and I can really easily find the buildings that best suits this downtown area. So right now I'm finding buildings that are modern and that are quite old. So I've got a lot of Manhattan-esque buildings, and I've also a lot of the vanilla commercial buildings that come with the game are pretty much exactly what I want for this area. So I'm scrolling through and I can just plop down any ones that look interesting. Though, if you're going to use growables with Find It, I highly recommend you also download the mod Control Building Level Up. And what that does is it gives you access to stop the buildings from changing, basically. It's really useful because quite often you plop down a building, you plop down a growable, it's exactly how you want it, and then it changes. So this stops it from doing that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to tune out for most of this time lapse, and I will talk to you guys towards the end. Hey guys, welcome back. Right now, you can see I've created a lot of different plazas, and this is a kind of a different style of plaza. I'm trying to make a bit of an outdoor mall area, and one of the biggest problems I have with this actual area is I find that, and I guess the whole downtown area is, I'm not getting very much foot traffic kind of coming through the downtown, and I guess that's because there's not that many suburbs surrounding or residential areas surrounding the downtown, and so there's not much reason for people to even come around. So I do kind of tackle that in a particular way. And I planned to do a live play towards the end of this episode, but I don't know, like some episodes are so easy just to churn out, but this one in particular was just so hard to finish. So one of the biggest problems with it is this is my most detailed area of the city, and I'm also recording using shadow play, and I'm recording vocals. So it's like the strain on the computer is just ridiculous, and the frames are just like non-existent. So I was really having a hard time trying to balance that. And I just give up. I can't do it. So you can enjoy an extra long cinematic at the end of the episode. But the way I kind of fix the foot traffic issue is, and I don't really say it's a fix, it's kind of just like a little bit of it helps it a little bit, is I put a university behind those buildings over there. And what that does is it encourages people to take the train and travel basically through this mall area, this outdoor mall area, and go to the university, but it looks like they're visiting the shops. And yeah, I get like a little bit of traffic, but like not a huge amount. So my question to you guys is, how do I get more people visiting these areas? Because like I really struggled, really struggled. And maybe it's as obvious as just waiting until I develop more areas within this city and people kind of start utilizing these shops and offices and places and parks and stuff. But at this stage, there's not very many. Moving on from that, as you can see, I started off the time lapse making some of the government areas of the downtown. Like I put in a town hall and government offices and like a courtroom or something like that. And that is, I guess, the most historical area of maybe even Springwood. So that was kind of meant to be looking quite old, but the rest of the city I feel like is quite modern. Well, I mean, modern for the 80s. So I was trying to think about that at the same time. And I was aiming to have a lot of different plazas and areas for people to sort of hang out within the city at the base of these taller buildings. I didn't really want too many low commercial areas, though I did kind of do some like scattered around. And my aim was also to create pockets of like shopping areas and bars and cafes and things like that, because they're quite common in these sort of areas. So you'll see me kind of zoom in some pockets at the end during the cinematic. So like I kind of hope I achieve that look. And I was really thinking about where to place them. So I wanted them to be mostly around the train stations, and I put it a theatre, so I put some bars next to the theatre, just creating like little pockets of character, I guess. Down here, this is me starting off placing down the opera house that I was talking about. Now, this opera house is, like I said, pretty much the first thing you see when you cross the Springwood Bridge, and so I needed it to be quite detailed, and I also wanted it to take up lots of space. Now, like while I'm doing this, I also wanted to talk about, they've just released, I guess when you're watching this, definitely not just, but they've released the release dates for the newest expansion for the mass transit, and like I'm kind of keen for it, but I'm like, it also like, for I guess a lot of us, it doesn't really, like it doesn't change a huge amount, and if anything, it kind of stuffs up our game because so much of us are so heavily, we rely heavily on these mods that tend to break when they release updates. I much appreciate an update, but like I'm kind of a bit like, But like I am kind of excited for some of the features. So the blimps look cool, but I feel like, I don't know, they look like they're used to transport people, which is just not what a blimp's used for. So I'm not really that keen on the blimps. But I do like the idea of the chairlifts. I think that's going to be quite cool. And I've got a really great idea for it, but I'm just going to keep that in the bag. But if you have some ideas, please let me know in the comments, because I'm all ears. I want to know what you guys think about the new update, and if you're keen about some special features, or if you're just not keen at all. I think I've got some good ideas for it. Also, at the just after this time lapse, I do work on the religion that we started in a couple of episodes ago. I've just posted a link just there if you haven't seen it. But I did put out the question, we need a religion, we need some character in the city. Can somebody please come up with an idea? And I've spliced 2 ideas together. And I think it's quite cool. And similar to that, I also asked people to start naming suburbs in the city, because so often I was saying things like, oh, like in the Brooklyn area, and the Brooklyn Bridge, and the Los Angeles area. But I needed some names for this city. So thanks to everybody who's been commenting and giving out some ideas about some places, some of the suburbs of the city. I've taken all of them on board, and pretty much the entire city's been named. So like, just look out for some name drops. And if you're interested in other aspects of the city that I haven't really spoken about in the time lapses or in the videos, check out my Twitter. I do post to it quite regularly, and I plan to post way more regularly than I have been, but I'll be going into more details, covering the things that I really don't have time to cover during the videos. So go and check that out. I'll post a link below so you guys can follow it pretty easily. And also with the Twitter, I don't, but I will be asking people where I should be developing next. So at the moment, I've got up there a couple of places where I'm thinking about developing. So if you've got an idea, please comment below. Or if you want to interact with me, Twitter is the best place to do it. But that's pretty much it for this time lapse. But before we get into the cinematic of what we just built, I do want to draw your attention to something we built a couple of episodes ago, which is this church. And I put it to the people, what should this church be all about? I want a religion unique to Springwood. The comments were just awesome. But I'm going to splice 2 ideas together purely because I love the name, and then I also love the idea. So the name of the religion is going to be called Simology. It came from a commenter who went by the name of That Bloke Will. So thanks to that, it's going to be called the Church of Simology. And I would like them to worship a particular character. And I've chosen something that was mentioned by Dave Brundle, who said they could worship Lord Tetwin Sal, who we don't know anything about this guy, but it is an anagram of $20. So I think that's really cool, so I'm definitely going to use that. For the next part of this, we've got heaps of space in Springwood. I want you to think about what other little remnants of this religion can we put around, whether there's a farm out there or a giant Scientology-esque building or a UFO crash or whatever. I love to put some sort of traces of this religion throughout the city. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks heaps for tuning in. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon. That way you don't actually miss out on any episodes. And trust me, there's going to be plenty more. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.